is not a good time for my headset to want to die.
What's up, guys? KAMIKAZE-FOX coming to you from round 5 of the IRL F1 2018 Championship on the PS4 platform. I've got Tyler Thomas joining me in the booth today. Looks like we've already got some guys chiming in on the live chat. We've got Jared Frostbury and Aaron Collingwood and Adrian Storm saying hello and good luck. We've got some drivers still trying to join in. Lots to talk about today as we head into round 5 here at Paul Ricard. Another one of the, what I would refer to as the cookie cutter tracks in Formula One. A lot of runoff, a lot of braking zones, a lot of hard and acute angle turns, virtually no elevation change. And Tyler, you're a driver in F2. Oh, it looks like we've got rain for qualifying. What's it like being on a track that's literally got so much runoff you could land a 747 on the backstretch if you needed to? Does it play to the advantages or the disadvantages?
A little bit of both. It's a very confusing circuit, especially if you don't use a racing line. And it's really easy to make a mistake and invalidate a lap because it's unforgiving, the track extension at this track. It's also very easy to burn up your tires just because of how rough the track is.
Now, we did do some preseason testing here. Actually, the second preseason test was held here at Paul Ricard. The pole time that day for preseason was set by Luke Smith at a 1:29.0. But I heard a lot of drivers that day were having a hard time finding, even with the racing line, still trying to find like the correct angle of attack for the corner.
Yeah, there's so many multiple different angles of attacks for certain corners. It's about whichever, I guess, you feel more confident and can get more time out of.
We've got some drivers leaving the pits, getting set out on their out laps. We'll pick up some of them here in a second. Got a lot of new faces today, 17 drivers. You'll notice Hammer Time sitting at the top of the list right now. That is Jamie Walker. He made his IRL debut last week at Catalunya, managed to muster out a 4th place finish. Good for him. We've got Michael F1. That is Michael McGurk in the McLaren, making, I believe, his IRL debut. John Kalinius, who is, I believe his first name is Giannis Kalinius. He made his IRL debut last week at Catalunya as well. Had a pretty dismal race. He had managed to disconnect. His car went AI, and the car finished 4 laps down. But his car, being AI, had some dismal effect on Aaron Collingwood's race. We'll get into that in a little bit. We've got Thomas Scott in the Sahara Force India. CSR Kimmy is TJ McLean, who we haven't seen the past few races. McLean managed to secure pole position back at round 1 in Canada and was actually on a tear to make a very good race finish towards the end. He played a very unique pit strategy, but unfortunately with a few laps to go, I believe it was 2 laps to go, he crashed coming out of the Wall of Champions and broke the left front suspension on the front stretch. We've also got another new driver.
That is Lewis Curtis. He is a reserve.
Lewis Curtis is Lewis 11004. So he's making his IRL F1 debut. Lots of new names today. Then we've got Sondre Sauerhog coming out of the pits. Sondre's had really an up and down year so far. Mustered a 10th place finish back in round 1, but unfortunately round 2 he was 8th, so those were his 2 best finishes. Had a 9th back in Mexico, and then he was a DNF last time out. I'm sorry, he finished 10th again last time out. The interesting thing about Sondre is he's finished towards the bottom of the championship running order in every race, but he's managed to run the fastest lap in 2 of the rounds. He ran the fastest lap last week at Catalunya, and I believe he ran the fastest lap back at Coda, where he'd actually run the fastest lap and then immediately crashed the car after that. KLC73 is Aaron Collingwood. He proved last week that he's a very fast driver. He's done some commentating for IRL in the past. He's done a few races here and there. Looks like he's going to try and give a full season effort after last week. He was battling for the lead heading into turn 1 at Catalunya, but unfortunately he did run into the rear of the AI car of John Kalinius and ruined his race. And it looks like Michael F1, Michael McGurk, is already done for the day. Those 2 guys finally starting to set times. Luke Smith is at the top of the charts with a 1:44.534. You can see how far off the pace that is. If Luke Smith ran a 1:29.0 in preseason testing. And Tyler, have you had the chance to run on this track in the wet? I know you said it's kind of confusing. I can only imagine it gets more difficult in the wet.
It's a lot more difficult in the wet because what little grip you have is completely thrown away. I know yesterday for the F2 race there was a little bit of rain and it had messed with my tires and then caused me to crash out. So it's very difficult around this circuit, especially when wet.
You can see Kalinius has now gone DNF as well. We'll try to pick up some of the rest of these drivers. Gabriel Ryan in the Haas, James Hallworth in the Toro Rosso, and then TTG Squeezy. That was Jack Hoyle. Showed up last week at Catalunya and set IRL on fire, fought for the lead most of the race. He was fighting with Collingwood until Collingwood had hit the back end of Kalinius' AI car. Hoyle went on to win driver of the day and pick up his first win of the season. So he's definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. And then we have the ever interesting Jorge Correa. He runs very interesting pit strategies, so we'll see how things work out for him today. You see Collingwood has just jumped to the top of the charts with a 144.116. Technique Gaming, that is also a new face to IRL.
That is, oh, if I can pronounce that name.
That is Ville Himalayan. And no, I don't think he's from the Himalayan mountains. But second quickest so far, and that has actually dropped Luke Smith to third quickest. Now, TTXJ, or TTGXJ, is Jay Drawbridge. He's actually your championship points leader after last week, but it looks like his time is going to be fourth quickest, and he's not going to be able to improve it. It looks like he's done for the day as well. So Jay Drawbridge actually has gone 3 out of 4 races this year, finishing on the podium. He crashed out in round 1 in Canada, but since then he's been on a tear. He won back at COTA in round 2. He won in Mexico, where he also picked up his first pole. And then last week he finished third spot after having a poor qualifying session. So 10 minutes left to play in what is a very, very wet... Oh, look at this! The Haas goes wide! That might have been Gabriel Ryan! So that blows Ryan's lap, but it doesn't hit anything because there's enough room to land a 747. The runoff here is, there's no gravel here at all, is there?
No, I do not believe so. It's all concrete.
Paul Ricard is not what it used to be when it comes to being a Formula One track.
Is very much the opposite of Monaco, where you have no room for error.
Seems here you have all the error in the world. So that'll invalidate Gabriel Ryan's time. And we're going to pick up Felix Naguar. We're going to talk about him because Naguar was your championship points leader heading into the last round. Last week in Spain, he had gone 19 consecutive races, stretching all the way back to last season, as being the points leader in IRL. Unfortunately, and due to his own fault, he jumped the start at Catalunya and rear-ended another car and immediately disqualified him for the race. And Jay Drawbridge went on to take the points lead after finishing third. So Naguar, who's very rarely makes a mistake, unable to muster any points last race, and then he's fallen behind. Another driver that made a very rare mistake last week was Luke Smith. He's currently in the pits getting work done on the car. Looks like he's getting ready to leave. But Luke Smith, we talked about it a little bit last week for a little bit of time that he had. He had a really poor qualifying session, but he's a very, very fast driver in just about anything he gets into. But he couldn't find the setup for Catalunya, and ultimately on the opening couple of laps, wrecked and was done for the day. Very rare mistake by Luke Smith. We'll pick up Alexander Bastos. We haven't talked about him a whole lot yet. Got a couple of he's got a couple of F1 races under his belt this year. Finished 7th back in COTA, and then again back in Catalunya. So I'm sure he'll be looking to improve upon those finishes. Currently running 9th quickest. So 7 minutes left to play. Nagwar can only muster a 10th fastest time. He heads back into the pits. Now the tricky thing is there going to be rain in the forecast for the race? Do you try to use a wet setup for qualifying and hope that you have rain in the race, or do we try to go with a dry setup and hopefully the weather comes your way during the race?
It's all a guessing game. It's whether you feel like there will be rain in the race, which most of the time when there's rain on a quali, it usually carries over into the race.
And it looks like Luke Smith is going to head back into the pits. Gabriel Ryan has managed to go second quickest. Oh, and there goes one of the Red Bulls. Not sure who that was.
That is CSR Kimmy still on his outlap.
That is TJ McLean. McLean looks like he's having some handling issues with the car for sure. Oh, he's trying to run on the intermediates. That's not going to work, I don't think, in this heavy rain. Would you give the intermediates a shot, or would you try and stay out on full wets? It doesn't look like there's much of a dry line.
There isn't very much of a dry line. He's making a risky call. If he sets a time that's really fast and there's heavy rain in the race and that's the fastest time he sets up tire with, he's going to have to start with that tire depending on where he qualifies, which could end up screwing him.
And it looks like we just lost Andre Sauerhog as well. Oh, and we're watching TJ McLean, and he's way off. He will be grateful for the amount of runoff on this track. So TJ McLean trying to give their intermediates a go. TJ is a very fast driver. He's also a very aggressive driver. He's got a little bit of a black hat amongst a lot of the drivers in the league for being a little too over-aggressive. He had pole back in Canada and was on a very unique pit strategy that was working for him until he pushed the car too hard and wrecked at the Wall of Champions back in round 1 with 2 laps to go. We'll see if he stays on these intermediates and tries to give another hot lap, or if he's going to dump into the pits at the end of this lap. Aaron Collingwood and Gabriel Ryan have now tied their times at 1:44.116. However, the pole would go to Collingwood since he set his time before Gabriel Ryan.
That is the closest you could ever possibly get. I
don't
think
think
I've ever seen that before.
Red Bull again, and McLean is backwards.
And he just popped onto the track.
Just glitched back onto the track. So TJ McLean having some grip issues trying to run those intermediates. That's not going to work for him. We're going to pick up Jack Hoyle. He's also on the intermediates. Is there any other drivers? There's actually a lot of drivers on intermediates trying to get this to work. I don't think this is a good strategy for anybody right now.
Thomas Scott is on the intermediates as well, and it looks like he's starting.
I say that though, and it looks like Collingwood and Gabriel Ryan both set their fastest laps on intermediates. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me because I'm not a very good driver in this game. I would be on full wets, but the first driver that was on full wets was Jay Drawbridge. His time currently stands at 5th spot, so that's not a bad qualifying effort for him. But it looks like as the time winds down, it looks like a lot of these guys have just made this crossover to the intermediates, and you can see it paid off for Aaron Collingwood as he just goes to the top of the charts with a 1:42.370, so he picks up 2 seconds switching over to the intermediates.
There's a lot of time. All right, Korea still yet to go out and set a out lap.
Well, Korea may have been playing the waiting game. He hasn't been out, and it looks like he can tell. Now look at this, Technic Gaming, who is the that's Vilay Himalayan, 1:41.949. So an excellent lap by him. We're watching Jack Hoyle. He's last week's winner. He's going to try and put in time. So far, he's only 7th fastest. So perhaps there is a little bit of a dry line starting to come about, but It's paid off for some of these drivers, and few of them have not improved their times. And you saw how much trouble TJ McLean was having, and he's yet to set a time himself. So there's 4 drivers that haven't set a time. That was Michael McGurk and Kalinius, TJ McLean, and Jorge Correa.
GTG Squeezy up to third.
Squeezy up to third. Good effort by him.
CSR Kimmy up to third.
Oh, TJ McLean does manage to find some grip and goes third quickest. So we're going to pick up Luke Smith. And Smith is on a tear. He's actually 1.2 seconds faster than his previous best time through Sector 2. That would put him in the 141 area. Barely, but he would be in it. That might give him enough for third as well. And look at this. Himalayan comes back with a 141.2, so the times are dropping with less than a minute to go.
CSR Kimmy retired.
Luke Smith comes across the line, 141.668.
Was that in the pits, or did he hit the wall?
But it looks like Luke Smith's time was invalidated, so he still stands at 8th. Now, Himalayan has retired with a 141.2. We'll go back to Aaron Collingwood. Felix Naguar has managed to get himself back into 4th. So the championship contender, still trying to fight for them points that he missed out on last week. Collingwood's a little bit off the pace, probably going to try and... He's only got 15 seconds. Is he going to be able to get across the line in time to start a flying lap? It's going to be close. I think he barely just hit it with a second left. So Collingwood's going to try for a last-ditch effort. Alexander Bastos to third quickest. Where did he come from?
Felix Naguar up to 5th. I believe he was up there already.
He was 4th. Bastos went third quickest and dropped him a spot. That drops TJ McLean to 4th.
Felix coming around to finish his last lap.
And look at this, Luke Smith to the top of the charts. The only driver to hit 140. He's got to run a 149.80. What can Collingwood do? And Naguar manages to go a tick quicker. He's back into 4th. We continue to watch Collingwood. Now Jack Hoyle is going second fastest. Collingwood down the front stretch. Woo! Didn't get to see what his time was. It looked like it was it only manages to go 4th quickest. So an incredible run. Who is Candor Tyrant 2005? So here's your starting order. Luke Smith takes pole, followed by Jack Hoyle, followed by Himalayan, Aaron Collingwood, Gabriel Ryan, Felix Naguar, Alexander Bastos. TJ McLean drops all the way to 8th. Thomas Scott. And then Jamie Walker, followed by Jorge Correa, finally does set a time. Jay Drawbridge's time was good for 5th at one point, all the way down to 12th. Lewis Curris, 13th. And apparently Kander Tyron is Can Willen. Let me just verify that message. Pronounced Can Vilhoen. Makes sense. Can Vilhoen. Apparently he was a driver in Season 2 and Season 3 and secured a couple podiums during his career. He secured one at Canada in Season 2 where he made his debut, and then he had one in Season 3 at Bahrain as we do the formation lap. And it looks like the rain has gone away for now. It does look a little overcast, so the rain could come back. So your starting grid, just to recap: Luke Smith, Jack Hoyle, Ville Himalayan, Aaron Collingwood, Gabriel Ryan, Felix Naguar, Alexander Bastos, Thomas Scott, Jamie Walker, Jorge Correa, Jay Drawbridge, somebody just hit the wall. Looks like that was TJ McLean. We've got Lewis Curtis in 12th. James Hallworth, 13th. Sandre Sauerhog only able to muster 14th quickest. Michael McGurk didn't set a time, will be 15th. Kalinius did not set a time. TJ McLean, 17th. And Kander Tyron, that is Can Vilhoen, will round out the 18-driver grid for today.
Should be a very interesting race.
Well, every race this year so far has been fairly interesting in IRL. They've all been full of amazing battles. Most of the races have come down to the wire. We've seen a lot of drama from start to finish. So I'm sure this race will be no different than the others. So we are going to try and keep up with the action here at the start.
Driver lights.
Lights out. Time to run what you brung. Oh, and there's a call immediately into the wall. And a lot of shuffling going on at the front. Oh, and everybody's going to run wide here. And a battle for fourth position back there. That's Collingwood. He's got Gabriel Ryan behind him. Collingwood's going to dive to the inside, try and pick up the third spot away from Himalayan. And now down the long backstretch. Who's going to make a dive bomb here? See, Jay Drawbridge tries to pick up a spot. Oh, no, there's a Haas. Looks like that was Lewis Curtis trying to go on the outside of TJ McLean. See bits and pieces flying everywhere. And meanwhile, while all this is happening, Luke Smith is pulled out to a 1.2 second advantage over second place Jack Hoyle. Collingwood running third. He's got Gabriel Ryan behind him. Himalayan is behind him for fifth. Championship contender Felix Naguar running sixth. Thomas Scott right now is in 7th. Your championship points leader, Jay Drawbridge, is currently 8th. Lewis Curtis 9th, and TJ McLean rounds out your top 10 points paying positions. Ken Vilhoen has managed to work his way into the 11th spot. He's followed closely by Michael McGurk and Jorge Correa, who just puts a move on him. We are going to pick up Himalayan. Looks like he just got passed by Gabriel Ryan. No, he did not. Ryan was already running forward. He's actually closing in on Gabriel Ryan. Jay Drawbridge trying to work on Thomas Scott. Now we've got we got a couple of cars that have gone around. Looks like that might have been Korea. No, Ken Vilhoen and somebody else had gone around.
McLean out of the race.
Oh, TJ McLean's out of the race. And Jay Drawbridge falls back to 9th. Lewis Curtis manages to get around him.
Interesting looking at the tire strategy. Jay Drawbridge and Jorge Correa both on softs. Everyone but Technique Gaming on super softs. These ultra softs do not last very long around here. They heat up very easy.
You're right. Himalayan is the only driver on the ultras. And I do see I saw Drawbridge was on the softs. I figured he would probably try to run a very long first stint since he qualified so far down in the field. I'm not sure Jorge Correa. Korea's got a really good habit of making some very interesting pit strategy to make it work in his advantage. So it wouldn't surprise me if he tries to run a very long first stint and maybe, depending on the weather, if he tries an undercut. Well, we saw an SRL race at Sochi yesterday where Korea ran the Hypersofts for 18 laps at Sochi and managed to put him in the points-paying position and mustered out a mid-pack finish. So keep an eye on Korea. That'll be interesting to watch as we continue to watch this battle here. This is Gabriel Ryan and Himalayan. And Ham is the one on the Ultra Soft, so it'll be interesting to see how long they last. We've got a battle for the lead unfolding, though. We've got Luke Smith is under attack by Jack Hoyle. And I got to be honest, in my whole time doing this for IRL and SRL, I've raced with Luke Smith. You don't see too many people contend with him as far as outright pace. The DRS has been enabled at last lap, so Hoyle's going to have that advantage. Looks like Hoyle's going to take the lead, but is this a little bit of a strategy call? Because now this is going to put Luke Smith in DRS range down the very long backstretch. But Hoyle immediately gaps him by more than half a second.
DRS is very potent on this backstretch. It is very easy to get by.
We see Naguar, he's trying to get past Himalayan. Looks like those Ultra Softs are starting to give up. Himalayan has lost some time to Gabriel Ryan. Ryan's managed to pull out 1.5 seconds over Himalayan. They were just fighting for position not that long ago. We're going to jump back to Luke Smith now because Luke Smith is starting to come under pressure from Aaron Collingwood, which is his teammate for now. So the Scuderia Ferrari team this year has gone through a lot of drivers. Lewis Marshall's not here today, which tells me why Luke Smith is racing. But Lewis Marshall has been the only staple at Scuderia since the beginning of the season. And you see the move Collingwood's trying to make on the outside of Smith. He's not able to make it stick there. And now it's a three-way battle for second spot, because now Gabriel Ryan has showed up, and he's going to go, oh, he just bangs wheels just a little bit with Smith. He tried going around the outside. He couldn't make it work. Three in the one at the end of this backstretch. It could end in tears for somebody. Oh, and Gabriel Ryan tried to get a 2-for-1 deal. Collingwood makes it stick, and it looks like Ryan's going to pick up the spot over Smith. So Smith loses 2 spots in a matter of 2 laps.
Technique Gaming falling back on those ultra softs. Those tires are done.
And we're going to pick up Lewis Curtis battling with Felix Neguar for the 5th spot. But as I was saying about Ferrari, Lewis Marshall, who's not racing today, unfortunately, Luke Smith's in his place, but Lewis Marshall's been the only staple at Ferrari so far. In preseason testing, it was supposed to be Lewis Marshall and Matthew Alder as a teammate. Alder decided to not race this year and is commentating for IRL in the F2 League. Then Mark Horsfall was supposed to take place of Alder. That fell through. Then it was supposed to be Sebastian Goncalves, who Goncalves was originally contracted to race for Mercedes, switched over to Ferrari, never made a race. And now officially, Aaron Collingwood will be teammate to Lewis Marshall. But you as a driver, Thomas, is it distracting when it comes to league racing that you don't know who necessarily your teammate's going to be on a week-to-week basis? Or do you find it? Do you find that there's a lot of? Is there a lot of teamwork in online racing when it comes to stuff like this?
Not really. Depending on who you have as your teammate. Like, I know some people in some leagues will work closely with their teammate to try to win the constructors, and like they'll make it their goal to work with their teammate. But most of the time in online racing, it's everyone against everyone. Your teammate's just the same person in the car as you, and they're just another person in your way. That's what most people's mindsets are.
We haven't seen too many. I have found in a couple of years that I've done this now, that the 2 seasons back to back, that there hasn't been much of there hasn't been teammates that necessarily are the same year to year either. So that probably has a lot to do with that as well. I'm going to pick up Jay Drawbridge real quick. He just managed to get around Thomas Scott to pick up the 8th spot. And Gabriel Ryan is still working on the backside of Aaron Collingwood. Meanwhile, Luke Smith has dropped all the way back to 6th, and he's about to get passed by Hamalayan down the long backstretch.
He's still out on those ultra softs. 6 laps. I'm surprised those tires haven't.
Oh, but he might have gotten a little bit of help there, and Jay Drawbridge takes advantage. Goes from 8th to 6th, picks up the 2-for-1 deal. And now Luke Smith has fallen all the way back to 9th. Meanwhile, Lewis Curtis has closed in on the back of Felix Neguar. So I'm not sure what type of strategy Luke Smith is running. This is the 2nd week in a row he's had some pretty dismal performance. I'm wondering if he might have banked on a wet setup, and it's not working out here in the dry. He may be hoping for rain at this point.
I'm wondering if there is rain on the forecast, because normally by now
you can see it's very overcast. Well, that's a good point, too. Hamalayan may be banking on rain as well if he's running the Ultra Softs this long. fact, I don't think
That tire
anybody...
must be burning.
The only person to make a stop so far has been Jamie Walker, who unfortunately I'm pretty sure had to do a wing change due to some contact on the opening lap. He's fallen all the way back to 15th. We've got a caution in Sector 2. Not sure who that was for.
A lot of track extension warnings. Penalties are going to be a big factor in this race.
Oh no, and James Hallworth has retired from the session. That may have been what that was for. Meanwhile, Gabriel Ryan managed to get around Aaron Collingwood to pick up the second spot. Oh no, and now Michael F1. Michael McGurk has retired from the session as well. Another DNF, but we've got cautions in sectors 1, 2, and 3 all across the board.
It looks like Michael retired on track. I saw his car driving in the background. I believe he was calling it quits.
Luke Smith managing to get back around Himalayan, as Himalayan is still working with those ultra softs. Lewis Curtis is the first driver to come into the pits, and he's followed by Himalayan.
He's going on to the softs. Here he may be trying a one stop, but he's also doing a wing change. Nope, never mind. He's going on to super softs.
So we're getting a little bit of a reshuffle here with some of the pit strategy. Trying to keep up with the times of everything that's going on.
Like there's about to be a three-way battle for second between Gabriel Ryan and Collingwood and Felix Neguar. They are closing in on each other.
And as we were talking about weather a couple of minutes ago, it looks like the sun is actually starting to come out a little bit. The haze is starting to creep away. Looks like some of the fog is starting to clear up. So this thing's going to go dry, it looks like, for the rest of the race. That could be a big disadvantage for Luke Smith if he tried starting on a wet setup. He's all the way down to 7th. Nobody goes into the pits this time around. Jay Drawbridge has managed to work his way into 5th. So we have a listing for 18 cars. We technically started with 17. We've lost Michael McGurk, James Hallworth, and TJ McLean. I believe McGurk was the one that called it quits. Hallworth crashed, and McLean had gone off. We have a listing for John Colinius, but he was unable to actually secure the room. Had an internet issue, so he's listed, but he never actually participated in today's race, unfortunately. He was unable to join. And while we are watching this battle start to unfold, because it is about to be a 3-car battle, Jack Hoyles managed to pull out to a 3-second lead over the second place battle, which is going to be Gabriel Ryan, Aaron Collingwood, and Felix Neguar. Now, Neguar is much closer to Collingwood than Collingwood is to Ryan. I'm going to switch real quick because it looks like Sandre Sauerhog's about to... Oh no, and there goes Luke Smith. He just lost the back end of the Ferrari. And he's going around just as I switched over to Sandre. He was making a pass on the inside. And Luke Smith is struggling mightily today in the Ferrari. And he has cut that corner. Collingwood dives into the pits. That's going to move Jay Drawbridge into 4th. And it looks like we have now lost Jamie Walker, has left the session. Looks like Luke Smith is finally going to pit from the 12th position at this point. And it looks like there was possibly some issues now between Jamie Walker and Alexander Bastos. Getting a little bit of radio chatter. They pick up Bastos, who's got Can Vilhoen behind him. And it looks like that was Jorge Correa just lost a position to Lewis Curtis. Oh, and look at this. Collingwood's on the inside, and he's going to get around him. So Collingwood out on some fresh softs, gets past Jorge Correa. Correa's on softs as well, but has yet to make a stop. I'm going to be interested to see how far Correa can go on the softs. And has Technic Gaming pitted yet? I believe he has. Yes, he did.
Yes, he has. It shows that he was on the softs, but his car looks like he has super softs on. So. Luke Smith. Soft.
And he is all the way down in 13th position. So Gabriel Ryan just came out of the pits, and he is going to get around Jorge Correa as well. Oh, but Correa dives in and puts the bumper to him. A little aggressive move there by Correa, trying to get that spot back. Meanwhile, we've got a three-way battle. This is Jack Hoyle's made his pit stop. We've got Hoyle, Lewis Curtis, and Aaron Collingwood. 5, 6, and 7 three-way battle, which is ultimately going to be a battle for the lead. Once the pit stop sequence finishes out, Felix Negwar is currently your leader over Jay Drawbridge. Oh, and Collingwood's going to try a crossover move. Oh, he's way down on the curb going into that corner. Gets past Curtis. Curtis is going to come back on the next corner. And these two are going side by side through these S's. Going to cross over again one more time. Meanwhile, Jack Hoyle started to gap these two. And Felix Negwar dives into the pits, as does Sandre Sauerhog, Thomas Scott, Alexander Bastos. That hands the lead over to Jay Drawbridge. So Drawbridge, who started on softs, has yet to make a stop and is now 13 seconds out front of this battle for second spot. But Hoyle is starting to gap this. Looks like Lewis Curtis is starting to lose a little bit of ground to Collingwood. And the sun has definitely come out now. This is going to be a hot, dry race from here on out. No threat of rain in the sky anymore.
It may help improve grip too, depending on how well the guys can save tires.
The two guys I want to watch is Jay Drawbridge and Jorge Correa, because they started on softs. You see Jack Hoyle just sets the fastest lap with a 1:33.0. You can see how much quicker those times are in comparison to the times during the wet. Collingwood is losing a little bit of ground to Hoyle.
Big gap. Just slowly decreasing.
They had a little bit of DRS advantage down that long backstretch. So it looks like things have settled a little bit. Jorge Correa just lost the spot to Himalayan. But it looks like things have settled for the time being. Jay Jawbridge is currently your leader. Yet to make a pit stop. Jack Hoyle is running second. He's got Aaron Collingwood under a second behind him. Lewis Curtis is running fourth, followed by his teammate Gabriel Ryan. Championship points contender Felix Naguar is running sixth. We just saw Himalayan make the move on Korea for seventh. Drops Korea to eighth. Luke Smith running ninth, but it's about to be a three-way battle for that spot. You've got Luke Smith, Thomas Scott, and Sandre Sauerhog all within 1.5 seconds of each other. Oh, and Smith runs extremely wide through the corner. Completely blew that and loses 2 spots. So Smith continues to struggle in the Ferrari. Meanwhile, Sandre trying to find a way around Thomas Scott.
The gap between first and second now down to almost 7.5 seconds.
We're going to jump back to the second spot, though. Collingwood has managed to catch Hoyle. Ooh, and this is really going to be a battle for first position, because as soon as Drawbridge heads into the pits, this is the battle for the lead, essentially. Oh, and he's going to try and put it in there. Oh, and he hits him. Left front to right rear. Gets the power down. He's got the DRS advantage. Oh, my goodness. And look at this. Hoyle's going to take the more defensive line. He's going to try and make Collingwood go around the outside.
Which then switches to the inside.
Switches back. Side by side through the S's. Who's going to have the DRS advantage coming to the backstretch? Hoyle still out in front. Third. And Drawbridge does pit, so this is now officially the battle for first. Good call. And Luke Smith has called it a day, retired from the session.
I was retired, I believe, in the pit.
And here we go. Collingwood's got the DRS advantage, but again, Hoyle's going to make him go to the outside. Collingwood gives him a little bit of a bump and run, pushes him wide. Side by side, coming down the remainder of the backstretch. Collingwood's on the inside line. He's going to be able to make it work for now. How long does it last? The caution in sector 1. Collingwood back out in front of Hoyle, but Hoyle is not going to give this up easily. Meanwhile, while this has been unfolding, Lewis Curtis has managed to close the gap down to them under 3 seconds. So now with the roles reversed, Hoyle's going to have the DRS advantage. There he goes to the inside. Collingwood gives way, lets him by easily.
If things continue, this could end up being a 4-way battle. Ooh, another time penalty.
So Curtis does pick up another 3-second time penalty, so even though he's running third, he's going to have dire consequences. Oh, and once again, Collingwood almost puts that left front to the right rear. DRS advantage, Collingwood to the inside. Manages to get back around Hoyle. Hoyle now going to try and pick up a slipstream off of Collingwood. And Luke Smith has officially left the session. A dismal, dismal day for Luke Smith. And I know I've talked him up a lot in the past, but that's 2 races in a row where Smith has struggled with the setup for his car and does not finish. 2 races in a row, in fact. And now Squeezy. Jack Hoyle picks up a 3-second penalty. Oh, and the back end kicks out on Collingwood's Ferrari. Trying to get that power down early. Hoyle's got the DRS advantage, and look at him close up that gap. Shoots to the inside. And Jay Drawbridge now was running 7th, your championship points leader. He's going to be out of this race.
Oh, he's crashed off by the pit wall. It looks like he went off straight.
Meanwhile, Hoyle and Aaron Collingwood have been switching positions back and forth the last couple of laps. And now Lewis Curtis is making his presence known as he's just shown up to the fight, and he's within DRS range of Jack Hoyle. So it's about to be a 3-way car battle for the top spot. And again, Hoyle to the inside, outside. Can't make it work through the chicane. He's going to be able to pick up a slipstream off of Collingwood. And if these guys keep it up, this is actually going to be a 4 or 5 car battle if nothing gets settled here in the next couple of laps, because Gabriel Ryan is starting to come into the picture. He's got his gap down to this 3-car battle to less than 3 seconds. Jorge Correa just picked up another 3-second time penalty. We've got Sandro Dulius joining us in on the live chat, on the live stream, and he has definitely picked up the stream at the right time, watching this 3-way car battle unfold. So Collingwood's able to gap Hoyle a little bit. Curtis is now on the backside of Hoyle's car. But here comes Hoyle fighting back for Collingwood. Oh, and look at this.
Oh.
And now Lewis Curtis is going to try and make a move. Oh, 3 wide into a corner. They make it work somehow.
He doesn't stay.
Curtis has really got the catbird seat because he's going to have a DRS advantage off of both cars. He's probably going to go with Hoyle because Hoyle's going to have the advantage. Ooh, look at this. 3 into 1. Is it going to work? Ooh, and look at that. Collingwood just slams the door just enough to keep Hoyle behind him. And you see right there in the background, Gabriel Ryan and Felix Naguar starting to creep into the picture.
Well,
working lap 19 of 27. Unbelievable racing. Curtis trying to work to the inside of Hoyle. Hoyle trying to work on Collingwood. Unbelievable racing for the lead here. This is the type of stuff that we saw back in Catalunya. This is the type of stuff that we saw back in Canada. This is the type of racing we've seen all year here at IRL. And once again, the DRS advantage to Hoyle. And his car just picks up so much speed that front stretch. He gets a really good run out of that last corner. Finally makes the move on Collingwood. Makes it stick. Is he going to be able to gap him? Because now Collingwood's going to have the DRS advantage coming down to the very long backstretch. Curtis, meanwhile, still hasn't been able to get by either one of these drivers. Collingwood tries to stuff it in there.
Up to the back of his teammate.
Collingwood tries to make a last dive, or last-ditch effort, gets back to the inside, and now he's going to retake the lead from Hoyle. Here comes Curtis. Curtis gets a really good run coming out of the chicane. Oh, he switches back relatively quickly, darting and diving back and forth. And Gabriel Ryan is creeping closer and closer to this battle. And a 3-second time penalty for Thomas Scott. And it looks like they've caught a lap car. Assuming that is the Williams of Jamie Walker. He is gone ghost. Thought ghosting was turned off. And now Curtis tries to get to the inside of Hoyle, but he can't make it stick. And look at this, Collingwood takes the more defensive line, bangs wheels, tries to outbrake him. He tried making Hoyle go the long way around, but the DRS advantage just wasn't going to let it happen. And now Collingwood back to the inside at the end of the straightaway. He's got the more preferred line heading down to the right-hander. Makes the move. He's by him again. Curtis still trying to find a way around one of these guys. 6 laps to go in this 27-lap race, and nothing has been decided yet.
It will either come down to your final lap pass or penalties.
You see Gabriel Ryan has picked up a 3-second time penalty. Penalties have been an issue. The back end kicks out on the Ferrari again. We saw Felix Naguar finish second. Oh gosh, what race was that? That was Mexico. Naguar had finished second, but because of time penalties ended up 5th in the running order. That was round 3. And again, Hoyle to the inside. Collingwood's playing a very dangerous game, trying to shut the door on the front end of that Red Bull. And now Curtis is all over the back.
It is now a four-way
And it is now
battle.
officially a 4-way battle. And it's about to be a 5- and 6-way battle if things keep up. To the inside, Collingwood leaves just enough room for Hoyle to get by. Curtis picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's the second one I know he's picked up since this battle started to unfold a few laps ago.
Collingwood back up in the
Oh, and Curtis tries to dive to the inside. And Curtis is on the inside of Hoyle. Oh, they're side by side banging. And now look at this, Gabriel Ryan dives to the inside of the left-hander, 2 for 1. Can he make it work? Hoyle's coming back. And around the outside goes Curtis. Ryan to the inside. Hoyle's going to lose a spot.
It is now a 5-way battle.
Meanwhile, Collingwood is starting to pull away. He's out of DRS range. Oh no, the 2 Haas's crash! Oh my goodness! Lewis Curtis is done. Gabriel Ryan has destroyed the front of his car. Felix Naguar picks up the 3rd spot. And it's going to end in tears for Lewis Curtis on his debut. Now with 4 laps remaining, can Jack Hoyle get to the backside of Aaron Collingwood? And Gabriel Ryan has called it a day due to the wreck. He was running 5th. Unbelievable turn of events.
That puts Felix Naguar in perfect position to try to get second.
The question is does Jack Hoyle have any damage to his car that would possibly slow him down? Naguar is within striking distance. Collingwood is just a little bit out of reach. That was some really good racing for a really long time. You get that many cars close together going into a braking zone, something's bound to happen, unfortunately. And Naguar not going to be able to stay within the DRS range of Jack Hoyle. However, Jack Hoyle is creeping in and might be able to break that 1 second barrier and get that DRS advantage back over Collingwood. I don't think Hoyle is done. So Gabriel Ryan retires from the session. His car will officially retire to the pits. And now Naguar and Hoyle both have DRS advantage. 3 laps to go next time by. And the time is dropping. Collingwood is losing the little bit of a gap that he had over Jack Hoyle. Naguar is trying to stay within striking distance of Hoyle. Meanwhile, while all of this has unfolded over the last 9 laps, Himalayan has moved into 4th spot. And there he is, just coming into the picture. You see him in the background there. And we're going to pick up Jack Hoyle, now within striking distance of Collingwood's Ferrari. Oh, and he gets a good run coming out of there. And he's to the inside, which is going to be the outside. Switchback. And he got a really good run coming out of that corner. He is going to have the DRS advantage. It should be a very easy pass heading down to this backstretch. Collingwood generally hasn't made it very hard to get around when you've got that much gap. But Collingwood's braking points are dead on. He's able to really hold that line and slam that door at the end of that straightaway. So meanwhile, here we go. These two have gone side by side again. Naguar's back in the picture. And it's a different driver, but we're back to having a 3-way battle for the lead. Before it was Collingwood, Hoyle, and Ryan. Well, Ryan is out of the race, and now it's Felix Naguar taking that spot. Looks like Can Vilhoun just got past Jorge Correa to pick up the 8th spot. Oh, look at that. Collingwood with a little bit of a block there. We haven't seen him do that too much down the straightaways. And look at Naguar.
Looking for a move.
Oh, Naguar had a good run coming out of the corner. He's going to try and go around the outside. Can he get the power down? And Naguar makes the move for second. Well, Hoyle's going to try for the crossover. Meanwhile, Collingwood is almost beyond the 1 second barrier. He's not going to get there soon enough, though.
Both have DRS.
This is some unbelievable racing we've seen unfold here at Paul Ricard, which is really surprising because Paul Ricard is not that great of a circuit, but we're having some great racing here today.
Technic Gaming, hearing in the background.
That's Malay Himalayan. Just starting to kind of creep into the picture. I don't think he's got enough time to catch this battle, but knowing what we know and what happened earlier between the two Haas cars, very interesting to see if it ends in tears for somebody else and Himalayan can capitalize on it.
Into the final lap.
Last lap. Who is going to pull this off?
Collingwood has at least 3 seconds of time penalties. I don't know about the other two.
And Neguar is there. He's on the back of Collingwood. Collingwood dives all the way down to the inside to try and break up the draft. There goes Neguar to the outside, and ooh, 3 into 1. Neguar almost loses the second spot. Hoyle tried to cross over in the middle of the chicane, but it couldn't work.
He's just gonna come down to the final corner pass.
And again, Hoyle to the inside.
Oh, he loses it.
He lost the back end of the car just a little bit. He's not done, though. Oh, he almost gives the bump and run to Neguar. Neguar locks up the left front. Neguar's not close enough to make a move on Collingwood, but Hoyle's close enough to make a move on Neguar. Down the front stretch. 1, 2, 3 as they come across the line.
Collingwood penalties dropped him to third. Felix Neguar is the race winner.
Felix Neguar is going to come out on top. What a race. What a race. And here comes Sondre Sauerhog, who very quietly will make his way to 5th. Thomas Scott will come across in the 6th spot.
Followed by his teammate.
That is Alexander Bastos with another 7th place finish. That is 3 races for Bastos this year, and that is 3 7th place finishes. At least he's consistent. Can Vilhoen will come across in 8th. Jorge Correa will be 9th. And we'll finish out the official rest of the running order as soon as all the other time penalties are assessed for. So Collingwood crosses the line first, but he drops to 3rd due to time penalties. What an unbelievable race. And it is good to see Felix Neguar back atop the podium. After crashing out last race due to his own mistake at the start, he comes back, and this will help him reclaim, or at least get close to reclaiming, the top spot in the points championship.
Wow.
So here's the finishing order is
17 seconds.
Felix Neguar, Jack Hoyle, Aaron Collingwood, Ville Hamelayan, Sondre Sauerhog, Thomas Scott, Alexander Bastos, Can Vilhoen, Jorge Correa, Gabriel Ryan, who retired after crashing on the front stretch, will finish out 10th. Jamie Walker, Lewis Curtis, Jay Drawbridge was your points leader, Luke Smith, Michael McGurk, James Hallworth, TJ McLean. So there's going to be lots to talk about heading into the next round. An unbelievable race today. That has been round 5. 17 seconds worth of time penalties and still not the record.
I believe
Luke Baker holds the record at 21 seconds. I would have to confirm that.
Jay Drawbridge, had he finished the race, would have completed it with 25 seconds.
So an unbelievable race. This has been IRL F1. Now you guys can catch us again next week on Saturday and Sunday. F2 will be racing Saturday morning. And this time we'll be going to the British Grand Prix, going to the home of Formula 1 at Silverstone. So F2 will be on Saturday. You can also catch the Gran Turismo Sport GT3 League on Saturday afternoon as well. I will be racing in that. And then on Sunday, same bat time, same bat channel, you'll pick up the British Grand Prix Round 6 for the Formula 1. You can also check us out on Twitter You can also check us out online at internationalracingleague-irl.com. And be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel for IRL, for KAMIKAZE-FOX. And Tyler Thomas, what's your take on today's race?
That was incredible. Probably one of the best races I've ever seen, and let's hope it can continue.
It's been nothing short of spectacular so far this year. And I'm being told by the league that the time penalty record is set by Jimmy McArdle, season 4 in Canada, at 26 seconds. And he did finish the race. So lots to talk about. Be sure to check us out online. You can get a recap of all this weekend's action, plus links to the Twitter feed, plus link to the YouTube channel. You can check out records and the other divisions of what's going on with F2. That'll be updated over the overnight. And I want to thank everybody for joining us, watching, and we'll see you guys at the next round.